Get a lawyer. Get a lawyer. Get a lawyer.
He just doesn't want me to have representation.
The fact that this is the way this is falling is deeply troubling to me as a human being, as a lawyer, as a mother, as a judicial culture. We should be doing better. Mommy always saves the day.
Mommy does save the day.
You know what I think has actually really helped me?
Lex the Pro.
I'm Jenny Lynn.
And I'm Jen.
And we're in high conflict hell. If you know, you know. But let's make sure we're in the right place. You're in the right place if you're expected to be a parent who always accommodates for change, but it's also completely stable all the time. Change and stability apparently are the same thing in the parenting world.
You're in the right place. You're in the right place if your boyfriend broke up with you because of a massive custody battle.
Well, welcome. You're in good company because, yeah, you're with us.
You're with us.
And change is hard in relationships and in parenting. And it's also a part of life and super necessary.
Mm-hmm.
And as it relates to parenting, which is ironic because it's supposed to be a constant, stable environment for your kids. That's what everything's supposed to revolve around. What's best for your kids and their stability. And it's weird because when kids are raised in a two-parent home, that change is more controlled, right? Even if you move houses, those two primary parents are still there. Even if you have to move schools, you're still coming home. And basically, those two primary parents are still there. That internal support network is still the same. Where when you're in a split home, that change looks very different.
Yeah.
Very different.
And then you have changes within those primary homes.
That's what I mean.
People moving in and out, moving houses, moving addresses, changing your commute to school, changing your access to extracurricular activities, changing your access to a school. All of those things change. But I think we would be remiss to share that there are positive changes that happen too.
Oh, absolutely.
I've experienced a lot of loss in the last couple of months, but also some very significant changes, positive, deep connection changes in my relationships, which have been very helpful.
You know what I think has actually really helped me?
Lex the Pro?
Well, number one, Lex the Pro. Number two, it's really hard to explain to people the day in and day out of high conflict parenting and just even high conflict relationships in general. It doesn't even have to relate to parenting. If you're just involved in a high conflict dynamic that for whatever reason you're stuck in, whether it's with a parent or a sibling or an aunt or an uncle or a friend that you really just don't want to ever let go of, even though it might not be the best thing. At least this is, and because I've had a few people tell me, including Steve even, that like, he lived through it, he got it. But listening to it in this kind of way has really opened a door that maybe was cracked or closed. And it's hard to explain to people what goes on in these dynamics. And if this at least gives a little bit of light to that, mission accomplished. You know?
Well, and often we're talking about it in our vacuum. So we've got our normal group of, let's say, 2 to 5 friends. Your bridesmaids get up, we'll say. And they can only hear so much because they know you as a person. They maybe experience changes about that specific relationship. And they've got all of their already preconceived notions, but they've got their expectations of you too. She's strong. She's funny. She's active. She's this. She's that. Maybe she is a little bit unstable. Maybe these are the quirks that we accept. And so they're really viewing this relationship change in going from maybe a marriage to a high conflict co-parenting situation, or in some cases like mine, a positive co-parenting relationship to a high conflict co-parenting relationship, and thinking like, it's not that big of a deal.
Well, I was going to say my best friend actually sat me down and because she knew me before I was divorced.
Right.
And we see each other every week because we play soccer together. And she sat me down right after we started doing this and was like, hey, I knew, but I didn't know.
Right.
She's like, and listening to this in this way is crazy to me because I was there.
Yeah.
Jenny Lynn.
I was party to it.
Yes. And I still didn't get it for some reason. And me and her have spent we've gone on 2-week trips together multiple times during all of this, where clearly I don't shut the fuck up about any of this shit ever, you know?
Yeah.
And still, and it was funny because you had a mutual friend of ours, but really show up for you in a way that was, talk about a change, a positive change. Look at us being so positive right now.
Know.
And I was, and we'll get into that in this episode, but I was telling her about it. I was telling my best friend about it. Like the fact that this woman just showed up in this way that, Jen, you haven't known that well. You don't have really a close relationship with. And she looked at me and she was like, even if you do nothing else with this podcast ever, Jenny Lynn, the fact that you were able to resonate that hard with someone and impact, like not me specifically, us, that it's worth it.
Yeah. Right.
And that's how I feel, that
I agree.
It's worth it.
It is worth it.
And for someone to hear your story in such an open and vulnerable way is also, Jen, and I am talking to you because this is not easy for you.
No.
Of the two of us, you are bearing the weight of this in a way that, like, I can't even explain to listeners because you've been through it. Now imagine opening that, what your innermost thoughts and feelings about how all this is affecting you and affecting your children to your entire community.
Yeah. In real time.
In real time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think it's that important. I think that this is that important because especially someone like me, I will be very quick to, in 6 months, feel like it wasn't that bad once it's over.
Well, and I think you and I kind of have the same effect. We're chatters. We like to talk a lot. So even if you're telling an acquaintance or a friend about this going on, even if it's your best friend, they still might not get it.
No.
And we all have that. Every single one of us have that because we're all human beings cut from the same cloth. Until you experience something, you don't get it.
Right.
But in the same way, when you read a really good book and you're able then to put yourself in, like, in the book, in the place, relate to a character or a part of a character in a story, you don't have to, I've said this a million times, you don't have to agree with anything we're doing. That is not the goal here.
We still want you here.
But yeah, if you're just at least getting a peek inside that house, and in a way that's real and vulnerable, and you're seeing that person at a practice or at a pickup, and hey, maybe if they cut you off and hit your car, they're not so mad at you.
They might
your day already sucks.
They might not throw their hands up in the air at you and yell at you and you say, I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry.
They might.
That you are. I mean, what I'm going to do, I'm going to send this podcast to the guy's car that I hit. Yes. Dude, rough a little bit.
Be nice. Well, I think that's the other part too. You don't have to agree with anything that we do, but if what we do allows you to hear these stories in a way that you are genuinely receptive to, even if you disagree, that might allow you to be a little bit kinder to your neighbor. There is at least one person on your block that has gone or is about to
absolutely.
go through
This
something
is
like
rampant. This is happening everywhere.
You might be a little bit nice to them. When you bake cookies next time, drop a couple off on their doorstep. You might pull in their garbage can for them.
Yeah.
You might check in on them when they look like they haven't brushed their hair or their teeth in 4 days. And you might be kind.
And here's what I will ask too, is that if you do have a close friend that you're relying on through all of this, hey, could you send this podcast to them? For them and for us. Maybe
thank you.
Maybe it will help them. It will definitely help us. It could just provide a little bit of insight. Don't worry. I don't expect anyone to sit here and listen to 37 hours of us talking. But just spreading the word is what's really important to me. And I know it's important to Jen. It's important to both of us at this point, is that as women, we are aware of what's happening, because if we can't even be aware of what's happening, how are we supposed to prepare? Oh, look at that. Be aware to prepare.
Stop, drop, roll.
That if you're going to leave someone, you need to be prepared for what that's probably going to look like. If they're saying to you, they want to have 50-50 custody and they haven't even been around, you need to still be prepared. Like, just do what you need to do.
And you don't know how to prepare the things to save or the documents that you need or what you're going to need to have in order, the systems that you should have in place. So I also think that sometimes I hesitate for us to share these things because it makes me nervous that a woman that should leave
isn't
might
going
decide to stay because it seems scary. And I don't want that.
Well, let me just be clear. That is what's happening. A lot of women
all
are
the time.
staying in abusive relationships now because they don't want to give up half the time with their kids.
Yeah.
And they don't want their kids, at least if you're in the same house, you can protect your kids from that. And because let me be clear, if I was in the house when my ex-husband stood in front of the doorway and told my son, get through me, it wouldn't have happened. I mean, this is how domestic violence works. You know, all hell would have broken loose. And it probably wouldn't have happened because it would have been directed at me.
Well, it wouldn't have happened because in a 2-parent household, you would have been expected to get the kid to school. He would have had no responsibility and you would have gotten the kid to school. There would have been no need to block someone from having a solution-oriented mindset to get to the place where they need to receive their education.
Yeah. And in a lot of circumstances, this kind of really high conflict abuse doesn't start until you leave.
Or you don't recognize it.
Yeah,
you were the barrier.
Me, that I didn't recognize it.
Well, I think that, the kids weren't hearing about the expensive yogurt. They were just eating the expensive yogurt and you were the barrier to that. Yeah. It didn't have to explode into something else. So I think it was happening. Yeah. It just wasn't impacting kids. And we've shared this before, but I really, truly thought, and I know you did too, that when I left, that I was protecting my children from my ex-husband's behaviors that would ultimately affect them if I stayed. Turns out he's still the same person. And he's still doing the same things that now my children are party to, front row seats, and now old enough to understand as they're learning about their bodies and their hormones and how they feel about their relationships with people and exploring what a romantic relationship will look like one day, because that's a normal part of the developmental process. Yeah. And they're looking at how he is treating people and now how he's treating me. And going, I don't know.
And ultimately, so I go back and forth on this point, right? Because I want to protect my kids for as long as possible, all the things. I was raised in a bubble, and that bubble existed well into my 30s. Yeah. And when that bubble popped, it was very, very difficult for me. Aww. And so my silver lining to this is at least my kids know. Yeah. At least my kids know that life isn't fair. The system isn't fair. As women, we have to stand taller, but not too tall. And speak loud, but not too loud. And that's the society expectation. But at home is where you go out into the world and you stand as tall as you want and you speak as loud as you want. And then you come home, because here is where you will find the support to do that day after day after day. Yep. Because home is where we always go.
You get to be safe all the time, ununconditionally. Yeah. But do make sure to put keys between your fingers when you're walking downtown. Don't go anywhere without a friend.
I feel like that's what this is. Like, that's what we're doing this is. Make sure you put the keys between your fingers. Because if you don't know the danger of the system out there, how are you supposed to protect yourself or prepare for it? You should be realistic about what that's going to look like when you leave. Because if you're not, and then you're blindsided by it, that's also not good.
Well, and there's no buddy system built into this.
No.
This isn't your buddy system.
Yeah.
This is what we're trying to build. Yeah. We are your buddy. You need to go to the bathroom at the club at 12:30. We have a buddy for you to make sure that they hold your drink. And we have a buddy for you to walk you to the bathroom.
We have an episode for that.
And we're going to hype you up in the bathroom. And this is what we want, because it is hard. This situation and the family court system right now is incredibly difficult. And I had no idea.
And I had been telling you for years.
But it wasn't me.
Right?
That wasn't my...
I know.
My ex-husband comes and stays on my couch. He comes and takes care of the kids if I have to travel for work. We speak to each other nicely. That wasn't my reality, Jenny Lynn. That was...
Okay, and you know what's funny too, Jen? And not in a ha-ha funny way. When they first started this action against you, and I was like telling you, I was like, don't fight so hard. Don't hold on to that point. Yeah. It's okay if they're not going to agree to that. You're like, but they're wrong. And I was like, and even if with me standing here telling you, no, Jen, like just agree to that. Right. Get here, and you're like, I can't. This is wrong. Can't. Exactly.
I still can't.
And I was like, this could really spiral. This could blow. You know. And in your defense, you were like, yeah, Jen, but they're saying my potential punishment's jail, right? And that I'm doing this wrong, and he hasn't even asked for her, and he hasn't even done these things. And I was like, I know this, and you know this, right? But to the system, it's not going to matter.
No.
And then turns out I was
right. But also, what was agreeing to all that going to do to me? I was going to have the same outcome.
It's kind of
with
like
less integrity.
No. Well, see, I don't know if I necessarily agree.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of like tell a man what they want to hear to get what you want.
No.
Okay, but we're not going to change that.
Well, we might.
Hopefully, right, as the system evolves and things slowly do start to change. But you individually in that letter, in that response, are not going to change that. It has to be a collective movement, you know? I mean, it does start from the ground in a lot of ways, but the movement really will have to happen through the court system. And probably some really severe things happening. And some severe things have happened.
Children dying.
That's exactly the
death. Murder died.
It's so funny because not ha funny, because every time we post a video on TikTok about in these kind of custody situations, men killing children, men killing women, we get a slew of comments. I'm going to say a slew, but a few comments of being like, women are the number one killer of infants. If we want to point to people who kill kids, it's women, it's women, it's women. Okay, cool. Make your own podcast about that.
Right.
Make your own episode about that. What I am talking about is domestic violence situations. That is reality, is that's the way that falls.
Yeah.
And so absolutely, we all know women kill kids, and we all know in postpartum, especially
postpartum psychosis,
a lot of things
depression
happen. And I hate to say it, it's part of the brunt woman, hold as being the child bearers. And I'm just going to say this. If men bore children and part of that process at times included postpartum psychosis, it wouldn't be a crime.
Even if it was postpartum depression.
Yep, it wouldn't be a crime for murder. I guarantee it.
Oh, yeah.
Just as self-defense is a valid defense for murder. Yet when women started killing men in self-defense, they weren't doing it right. That he was a chronic devier, right? So she waited until he was asleep.
Yeah.
And then she killed him.
Right.
And they said the immediate threat was no longer there, and they were locking women up everywhere.
Yeah.
And so as women, like I've said before, if the law is beneficial to us, it doesn't happen. So in family court was an exception to that for so many years. And it is no longer.
Right.
Being in family court, it's not a beneficial place for women anymore.
No.
And if it is beneficial for the kids, I don't know.
Where.
My jury is out on that one,
My
but my personal
experience,
my personal experience is that the way the current system is happening is not beneficial to my kids.
Well, and here's what doesn't matter. This does not matter that my ex-husband has come to me and said, I actually don't mean any of those things that my attorney said about you. I actually really would like to settle. None of those things matter. It doesn't matter that he has said those things to me many times. It also keeps me in the cycle of reactive abuse.
Yes.
Where I'm like, okay, oh my God, great. We agree. I don't want to hurt you. You don't want to hurt me. And then bam.
Because then you email the attorney and you say, hey, ex-husband's telling me he wants to settle. And he doesn't just respond to you and say, okay, will you pay 50%? He responds to you, all the things you're doing wrong. Yeah. All this, he's just prolonging the conflict. He's
prolonging the payment.
Absolutely. And he's doing it for profit. Daddy's main goal. Daddy, once again, can be anyone. His main goal is profit. And so if your main goal is not profit and you're an attorney, you're probably a mommy. Well, I will get to that too. Because mommy might show up.
My ex-husband is under 100% belief that this man cares about our children. And daddy continues to say things in emails like, if you just would do better and work with me and ex-Homer and you to create a better situation for the kids.
You're actually not a parent, Daddy. And we call you Daddy on here. Yeah. But you're not. You're not Daddy.
I'm sorry, but the two people that should parent our children are me and their father.
Absolutely. And that's what Daddy should be saying.
Right.
That you two need to figure out how to parent. Not that you two need a third party, which is his advocate, his paid advocate, to fucking arrange a pickup. And mainly because his paid advocate is clearly telling your ex-husband that that's just a baseline. And anytime you do anything outside of that plan, you're being manipulative. You're controlling the parenting situation. Yeah. You're not providing access to his independent parenting that he so desperately desires. He wrote something like that in one of your emails.
That I'm not allowing him. This was on Monday. I'm not allowing him to parent independently. and that I only allow mutual parenting, which is so funny because then I've got several people that daddy needs to email because my ex-husband only parents with other people around. An ex-mutual friend of ours that helps him parent. You've got his mom that helps him parent. And you've got his new estranged wife that helps him parent. You had his ex-girlfriend that was taking on most of the parenting. And to be very fair,
let ex-Homer rent a place, have an independent parenting relationship, and by all means, and this is the part that's really screwy, is it doesn't matter what daddy says.
Daddy's words mean money.
Absolutely. Every time daddy,
my ex-husband goes, oh yeah, get that bitch.
Yeah.
And he goes, yeah, and you pay me. And then it's just this
and
really
they love each other for it. That's why they're friends.
Where I have panic attacks and I'm crying, having to call all my friends to come support me, to bring me dinner, to do these things and those things. And they're like, yeah, get her. Yeah, money. Yeah, get her.
And if you are an attorney and if you're known as a bulldog and highly aggressive, I do have a question for you. How do you sleep at night?
Right.
Because
that is the reputation of this law office.
Yep. You're creating havoc in single parents' lives routinely. And it was funny because I was talking to another attorney yesterday, because that's apparently all I do. And in the community though, and he was like, "Oh, when I got divorced, someone told me to use
this law office.
Yeah, they were such bulldogs." And you know what he said?
What?
Like, thank God I didn't. It would have blown up my entire divorce. And he's got a great co-parenting relationship
and financial situation.
Yep,
because that's what they're all about. And
Yep.
between the two of us, Jenny Lynn knows far more attorneys than I do, but I know many, many attorneys too, and they all say the same thing.
Yeah, good for them. I guess they're making a lot of money, you know?
Yeah. I mean,
I hope they're making a lot of money, because I would never write an email to another attorney with the subject line, potential RPC violation 3.7, because my reputation would be worth more than that.
Yeah. Which he's done.
Yep. Okay, should we talk about that? Should we talk about
talk
about mommy?
Yeah, I no longer have to deal with receiving these threatening, manipulative, horrible emails repeatedly, day in and day out, because
Mommy's here.
Mommy.
You know what, you guys? Let's just be clear. Mommy always saves the day.
Mommy does save the day.
Yeah, if my mom's around, well, okay, Jen, sorry.
We have another story.
Not for you. We'll tell Jen's story.
Your
about
mom
her
saved
mommy.
my day.
But my mom is my rock. And because I know a lot of people don't have that kind of relationship with their mom, including you, Jen.
All of us love that for you others. I don't think that there's very few people that don't have a good relationship with their mom that don't really value and respect. It's not like a place of jealousy, or it's very sweet.
Well,
so speak freely.
She saves my day.
I love
always, you know, big, small, in between. She saves my day, and that's what I feel like this woman is gonna, you know, put a good effort in to do for you.
Yeah,
and step in and give some
relief.
So some relief. So what happened? You tell the story, Jen.
Yeah. So an episode or two ago, we talked about panic attacks, and I had a serious day of panic attacks because of this attorney, and because I just cannot believe that this is what my life is.
Yeah, you received 3 emails from this attorney in a row, all blaming. Well, there's a lot in those emails, but a significant portion of them were blaming you for
everything,
for things about the kids,
everything,
and their school, and whether or not they're going to be able to go to the school or not. It was very finger pointy.
And I have now made it to where my ex Homer is broke because of all my poor decisions. It's constant. Your character, your mothering, your personhood is awful, and you need to pay because you're ruining everybody around you. That is the sentiment of the email.
Oh, that's a sentiment of his approach.
Right. From the beginning, there has not been a single, there was actually one let up where my ex-husband was like, "Hey, I don't like the way he's talking to you." And I said, "Great, you need to tell him that." And I got an immediate email back in like October that was like, "I understand that you think that my emails are inflammatory, and that's not what they're meant to be. I'm here for problem resolution, blah, blah, blah." That's clearly not the case. But that was the maybe one. I've received 2 nice emails today, because he was really nice when he provided me information to pay the fees that I owed.
Right?
Nicest emails ever. He was like, "Thank you so much."
And responded within 30 seconds of, "Appreciate it. Call here."
When my ex-Homer listens to this episode, just know, don't let him charge you $40 for that email, because that only took him 1 minute. Make sure you make him reduce that to a $5 charge. So I was talking to this woman that I barely know, and she just must have understood from the sentiment of my messages that were not very detailed. They were very short.
You screenshotted
the emails, but then I was like,
a portion of one of the emails.
Yeah,
and she was like, what the?
And I was like, I've been frozen for the last couple of days. And this woman who has been to my house one time shows up at my door, pounds on my door. And I'm like, great, I'm getting served again. And I hear a voice that I don't recognize that says, don't worry, it's just me. Let me in. And I go let her in. And she comes and sits on my couch. And she says, here are your solutions that I will be providing you.
Yeah.
You pick.
Yeah. And what she said is, because she's an attorney here in Washington.
Yep.
And
she's practicing for a long time.
She's practicing for a very long time. And she was like, he doesn't get to talk to you like this. He can talk to me like this now.
Yeah. She's like, I'm done.
And she was like, we'll work everything else out when it comes to the rest of the things he's addressing.
Mm-hmm.
But for right now, this is not okay to do to a mom. And as a woman, and so I was telling my best friend that story, and I was like, as a woman, to show up for another woman like that, just by hearing your story in a way that just resonates, and not even your story, the kind of unfairness that's happening, and
the story,
and the bullying that's happening, because, and I will use the word bullying because,
it is
because he is in a
bullying.
position of power. He has the education, he has the degree, he has the license to basically, quote unquote, tell you how it's gonna be. Mm-hmm. And the court has agreed with him.
And every attorney that you or I have showed this to has gone, hey, this man's approach is way out of bounds.
Yeah, and it's not illegal,
No, clearly.
No, but it's just really...
He can laugh at me during a hearing.
Absolutely.
And it's okay.
Which he did.
But I can't file the wrong document on the wrong day. But you can laugh.
No, Jen. And that's, okay, yeah, that too. But also, you can laugh during a hearing, but us speaking out about that laughter is the crime.
Uh-huh.
Right?
Yep.
And for his sake, I hope his giggling during a hearing is a nervous habit. Because if it's not, that means it's extremely condescending and demeaning, not only to you, Mom, or to the court, but to the children that we are up here talking about.
Yeah.
And I had a similar experience in my case. Not even similar. I think mine was way worse, actually, because the judge in my case swore. She dropped an F-bomb. She didn't just say damn or
this is just a
she
little
was like,
problem.
I've seen some fucked up things. And I was like, we are in a courtroom and we are talking about my children.
Right.
And that's the way you speak about my kids.
Mm-hmm.
I mean...
Let me minimize the issue to be basically nothing.
That I can just come up here and drop F-bombs in my robe. And...
Would you have been able to do that?
No, if I swore to the court...
Right.
Number one, I'd have to apologize. Number two, I'd probably have to ask permission to speak freely.
You're really bad at asking for permission and apologizing.
Right? So that's why I'm not practicing like that. Number one. But so I up here mocking the court system. No, I have actually a ton of respect for the institution.
Right.
In general. Like, I didn't go to law school and become a lawyer and spend tons of time in this industry because I think it's a joke.
Yeah.
I hold it in high regard.
Yeah.
And the fact that this is the way this is falling is deeply troubling to me as a human being, as a lawyer,
as a mother,
as someone watching my children,
as a victim of domestic violence.
Yep. That this is what is happening as a culture, as a judicial culture. We should be doing better.
Right.
That's it. That's the point. And so mommy did step in, and
I don't want to share details, but for the listener's perspective, you would never be able to dream up the generosity that she provided among her options.
Oh, absolutely. She's giving you so many options.
Unfathomable.
Yeah.
That people can be so kind.
Yes. And generous with their skill set and time. And
now them being slapped on the hand for it.
Right. Okay. Because mommy filed a notice of appearance on Jen's behalf. And within 15 minutes, got a nasty gram back. Yeah, she didn't send him an email or anything. She just put in a notice of appearance, basically, because once an attorney steps in, he can no longer communicate directly with you.
And
he
I
has
can't
to go
handle
through
it.
her.
I cannot handle.
And you shouldn't
it
be able
anymore.
to handle it.
It shouldn't be happening.
This should not be happening. And that was kind of her point. This should not be happening.
Yeah.
Like, that's, but okay, here's the interesting portion is that mommy also had written a declaration just in support of the fact that she knows
me lightly.
Yeah. And immediately daddy sends her an email that's basically like, you need to review the RPCs. Yeah.
He just doesn't want me to have representation.
Well,
although
after he's emailed you 50 times
so
too.
many
Get a
times
lawyer,
telling
get a lawyer,
me
get a lawyer.
I would encourage you to immediately seek representation. And he said this so many times, and he says it in a weaponized way. It's always immediately following a very severe accusation to tell me to go get a lawyer. So guess what? Got an attorney. And he doesn't like that
and he's
either.
not happy with that either. He's never happy.
It's his way of making money.
I think it's his way of showing the other attorney, I'm a bulldog. You better get ready. Mm-hmm. And okay, in his defense, I'm going to defend daddy right now.
He doesn't have to deal with me.
Yes, dealing with the pro se is hard.
Yeah.
Because
he's had to give me instructions.
Well, yes.
Tell me when I'm wrong.
Instructions and, respond to a lot of repeat, questions that you don't get and emails. Mm-hmm. But if you're the kind of lawyer that just likes that because it just ups their bill 24/7, then more power to you.
If this says anything to my ex, Homer, what this should say is, this man doesn't want to settle at all the way that my ex-husband keeps saying that he wants to. This says to me, I want to go to trial.
Well, and if you do want to go to trial, I guess, you'll cross that bridge and
yeah.
And so, I mean, let me just be clear. I don't know the ins and outs of this legality and this RPC. Let me just make that very clear. On its surface to me, but a lot of this stuff on the surface doesn't make sense to me. And guess what? I'm fucking trained in this shit.
Right.
I don't get how this is what's happening in our system.
Yeah. Well, and the commissioner said that she will only give my declarations that were provided by people that have witnessed my parenting the weight that they deserve, and she finds them to be mostly irrelevant. So I don't think that something that was called mostly irrelevant is going to be necessary witness. You actually, Daddy, said on many occasions that you don't find the relevancy in any of these declarations, that you don't see how they apply to an adequate cause motion, a guardian ad litem investigation, or me being in contempt. So what is it? Are they important or are they not important? You tell me. I don't think this is going to be necessary at trial because it's clear that nobody actually agrees that I'm a good parent except for these 18 people. The rest of you, the court system, the commissioner, and apparently my ex Homer, who always tells the kids what a great mom I am, think I'm a piece of shit. And you know what? You win.
Right?
You win.
No one agrees that you're a great mom except 18 people who were willing to sit down and write something about you from our community.
And that wasn't even everybody I wanted to ask.
Right? And on their side, let me just say it again. They had zero declarations in support or even an incident in support of the fact that Jen's home is quote unquote a disturbing environment. That they didn't even ask in the temporary parenting plan for that to be reflected.
Right.
They had all the holidays, they asked for half.
Yeah, they actually should be in this disturbing environment more frequently.
Right? The whole thing is just mind-boggling. And so
I'm breathing heavy.
I know, and I'm sorry because all this shit is so fucking stressful. But something does have to change. That you cannot be on the other end of this 24/7. That you cannot, every time you pick up your phone to open your email, you cannot feel that way.
Every time I pick up my phone, period.
This prolonged state of anxiety is very, as a person who's been through it, very unhealthy.
Well, and as I've been choosing not to pay some bills here and there because I'm trying to come up with the monny and, working on what I'm going to do.
And a retainer.
Right. And honestly, I'm doing the best that I can to make good decisions about that because I am a financial professional. Maintaining a stable income and not getting behind on bills and things like that is very important to me. It is something that I teach in communities for my job. And so being in this position where I'm deciding what to pay and what not to pay is really stressful itself. And I'm like, well, shit, I'm trying to come up with all this other money because now I'm getting emails about if I don't pay this immediately, then I'm going to have to go support that in another hearing. Yeah. But I'm saying the cycle of this. And in reality, what does this look like? So first, I don't pay because I can't. Mm-hmm. Second, I'm taken back to court because I haven't paid. So then there's a judgment against me, which then goes to collections. Now my credit score is impacted because something has gone to collection. So I can't even get out a really high interest rate loan to pay this. And now I have more fees because I'm sure they'll ask for attorney fees for that hearing for collections because that would be commonplace. So then my fees have now maybe doubled. And then I am now faced with this consistent stress about now all of this extra money that I have to come up with when I am already scraping by.
Wait. All while a guardian ad litem is investigating your home.
Yeah. Yep. And my child has to change schools because apparently no one can afford it anymore.
Right.
While I am trying to keep up with my home, while I'm trying to make sure that it is clean and stable and fun.
Your actual job
so
that makes you money so that you can afford anything.
Right.
Life. So that you're not on welfare.
Right.
So that you're not at the food bank.
Oh, but I also make too much money to be able to get any kind of assistance.
Right.
But all my money goes to my mortgage because I bought a home so that my children have a stable place to live.
Right.
This is the start of a cycle that is never ending, that no one seems to see unless you have lived it, including myself previously.
Yeah.
And then I'm receiving threatening emails about it. And also, you allegedly couldn't afford to pay for this or this or this or this. And if you paid for even the fees, then we'd be having a different discussion just
about your child's school.
The emails that I'm getting repeatedly, this becomes financial abuse. We are now in the financial abuse realm, if I didn't already think that I was. They are using anything that they can, and the overlying cloud is money on all of these issues.
The commissioner actually said these fines are to coerce you.
They are
into compliance.
coercive, not punitive. They are coercive.
Yeah, and if the goal is to destabilize mom,
you win. Perfect.
Great.
What do I do now?
Mom is put into a position that she should not be in.
So now I'm going to go get a second job to pay for all of these things, and then who's going to be with my kids since they're with me primarily, because you said you can't have them any additional time.
And he has 4 days a month. Let's just remind everybody, he has 4 days a month and now half the holidays.
Yeah.
Wow. It's, so a change is coming. It's gonna be okay.
I haven't received another email because
he can't.
Can email me. He can no longer email me.
Yeah.
Which is great. And if my ex-homer is like, yeah, I'm considering this motion to object to this person appearing as her attorney, and he wants to go pay for that.
Yeah, go for it.
Do you want what's in the best interest of your children or not? That's my question.
Does anyone want what's in the best interest of these kids?
No, I seem to.
Right? Definitely, Daddy doesn't. That's what's been made very clear.
But not to my ex-homer. He seems to really think this guy's his buddy.
Yeah.
And I know ex-homer. I know that Daddy knows this. My ex-husband is the kind of person that you talk to and you make him feel like you like him and that you're his friend, and he'll do and say whatever you want him to.
Yeah.
Because it does sound to me like in the emails that I got that my ex-homer was like, yeah, I do want to settle. And Daddy was like, yeah, let's just get her a little bit farther.
Yeah.
We need to make sure she agrees to this and this and this. She won't take any accountability or responsibility. And my ex-homer's like, yeah, buddy, you're right.
Yeah. No, it's
big homie.
It's big homie.
Big homie.
You think he calls him homie?
No, he calls him by his first name, which I think is really weird.
I mean, Daddy. Do you think Daddy calls ex-husband homie now? Since he's a listener.
They've got something weird. I don't know, but they've got something weird going on. And it's a relationship that, you know what? That's the kind of relationship that I build with people in my job. I want to make you feel really comfortable and trust me and talk to me.
So you pay me a lot of money.
Well, no, I do the opposite in my job, but I get that strategy.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And you've seen this with my ex-homer. If you make him feel like you're his friend, he'll say whatever you want and he'll listen to anything you say.
And it's literally client relationships, and it's a huge part of building your clientele as an attorney. You know what, Jen? Family law is so gossipy anyways.
Oh, yeah.
You know this is the hot topic in the office.
Oh, yeah.
I would be... Daddy treats everyone this... I don't think Daddy just treats you this way.
Right.
Daddy treats everyone this way.
Except for his clients.
Right. And so, as someone who works in that office, you just have to be giggling on the inside.
Yeah, you're like, God,
I would buy it. Someone's giving it to him.
Finally, someone's giving it to him. Finally, he's met his. Finally, he has met his match. Step right up.
Okay, so Jen, what is not the worst thing that happened to you this week?
Oh, are we already there?
Yeah, we are.
not the worst thing that has happened to me this week is that I just feel like I can't. You know, when you get to
The
those
overall feeling of just
yeah, and you know,
being
as
burnt.
moms, as parents, a lot of the time we tell our kids like, you can't say I can't. You can do anything. I feel like I can't.
yeah.
Ellipsis. Enter anything in here. I don't feel like I can successfully do anything outside of the next hour of my life.
Yeah. Yeah. You'll get through that.
Yeah, I'm feeling
I know
a
you
lot better
will.
already, but I'm like,
Really? Because this morning you sent me a text that was like,
well, I wasn't laughing with you at that time.
I was like, hey, girl. And she was like,
I'm like the meh emoji. Meh. That's what
I like,
feel like.
my favorite one. Is this the Met one? Is where the face is melting on the side, like smiling, but it's like tilted to the side and like melting.
I don't think so.
Oh, what was? Okay, we don't have to go into that. But that's my favorite emoji these days because I'm smiling, but I'm also kind of falling apart.
I love the Emoji Movie. That's a funny movie.
I don't think I've even seen it. I know.
I am
have
not a
kids.
movie person. No, my God, no, it's so good.
Yeah.
You would like it.
Yeah. Okay.
What's not the worst thing that happened to you this week, Jenny Lynn?
So not the worst thing that happened to me, and it's been happening for a while. Is I'm having tons of hand pain, joint pain, and I think it has to do with my age.
I'm typing all the work that you're doing.
No, but I've been having this pain even before. I've been on my computer a lot these last few months.
Yeah.
And then
It looks bad today.
I know I busted a blood vessel in my wrist.
I think it's a vein. I think it's a vein you blew out.
I
not a
blew
vessel.
out a vein.
Yeah, I think so.
What's in between a vein and a blood
Vessel would
vessel?
be a little tiny thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I busted something in my wrist, and nothing hit it, and I was cleaning, and I felt it when it happened because it was like you could like feel it pop. It was weird, and so now I have this huge bruise on the inside of my wrist.
It's swollen right now.
Yeah, and it's all swollen and stuff.
Ooh.
And it's just more annoying than anything. And I can feel it when I like put my wrist back and forth. Like I can feel the weirdness inside, and that's just
The weirdness.
It's kind of grossing me out. I'm not a nurse for a reason.
You know what? Ex-Homer, if he listens, which I'm pretty sure he does because he loves to provide feedback, he can text you and let you know exactly what that diagnosis
Yeah,
is.
could you let someone know, preferably with an attorney attached to it, so that way everyone gets the proper bill. Thanks.
And you can bill for that too. All right, Jenny Lynn, what was your week in hell?
My week in hell this week. Well, it's kind of long.
Mine is too.
Okay. It has to do with, so Steve's son's getting married,
Okay.
right? And, you know, there was like a please, thank you, and an apology demanded via a child, which was, you know.
Apologies from
Steve.
and to who?
From Steve to my ex-husband.
Ex parte.
Ex parte.
Wants an apology.
Yeah, but so that message was delivered through a child. But when I sent to my ex-husband a message about the wedding, specifically, he refused to. He just didn't open it. Which on our Family Wizard, it gives you it shows never viewed, and then once they open it, it gives a timestamp, which is actually really important to the court to have like things timestamped and documented for these kinds of reasons.
Right.
So think about that when you're documenting things too. How you're going to timestamp something to show when something happened, because contemporaneous things are important to the court. But anyway, so he never opened this message, and then I basically told my kids that I didn't think they were going to be able to come.
Yeah.
Because he's not even viewing a message.
Yeah.
And yeah, this message was passed along, this apology, and I'm not using the kids. I'm trying not to use the kids as a mechanism for communication, all the things. And so when my older son heard this, he called his dad and was like, hey, I need to talk to you about this wedding. I really want to go.
And he's 15.
Yeah, he's 15. And his dad was basically like, I don't have time. I'm with my new girlfriend. Bye. And hung up and refused to talk to him about it. So then,
Wouldn't it have been so nice if it was like oh, yeah, you can go. I'm busy with my new girlfriend.
Right? Oh. So he hangs up, and then my middle daughter calls him and is like, Dad, we want to go to this wedding. Mm-hmm. And Mom's making plans, and she's saying she's making plans without us. Mm-hmm. And my ex-husband tells my middle daughter, well, you and your sister can go, but your brother can't. That's my decision. And so it was extremely stressful in the house.
He had time to talk on the phone to one kid, but not the other.
Yep.
while he's with his girlfriend.
which was also extremely hurtful to my kid.
Right. The one that's being told that he can't go.
Yeah. Well, not to his face.
Right.
Through his sister.
No, but now he's figuring it out. Now it's all starting to make sense.
Because his sister hung up the phone and was like, oh, good news. I mean, if it wasn't my life, it would have been funny because she hangs up the phone. She's like, oh, good news. Me and my little sister can go. Just, this child can't.
I'm like,
and I was that's not happening. She's like, what do you mean?
Avoid.
Yeah. And I was like, this is not a means to punish. This is not a position of exclusion to punish. We have a very cohesive family unit, and I'm not using a wedding for the family as a means of punishment. I think it's very important to feel like you belong. Mm-hmm. And that being excluded from a family wedding is not an appropriate way to punish at least my child.
That
right
feels
now.
horrible.
It doesn't feel good. And that was attempted to be done to me. And it felt horrible. If that's the decision my ex-husband wants to make, he also has a wedding coming up. If that's the decision he wants to make in his house, that's between him and his son. Mm-hmm. That is not something that I will be doing.
Yeah.
And of course, like, all hell breaks loose.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not fair that we can't go. Da, da, da. You know.
She doesn't understand.
And I wouldn't understand if I was her age either. And so
some adults that will listen to this won't understand.
Yeah. And so my son calls his dad back and basically says the wedding's in Southern California, and says to his dad, and we had not been talking about going to Disneyland, but it had come up briefly at some point. But my son says to him, so basically my punishment for my grades is literally not being able to go to Disneyland and a wedding. It was just interesting how it was falling on my kids too. I said to my son afterwards, like, I don't know if we'll go to Disney. He's like, it's not the point, Mom. He told me that. It's not the point, Mom. Mm-hmm. That this is my punishment, that you would exclude me. I was like,
that really makes you want to go get good grades,
right?
That makes you feel good about yourself.
He did agree to my son that he could go, and I followed up in writing with a message, just being like, I now have been told, not by you, by 3 kids, that you are now agreeing to this wedding. I will be proceeding to book tickets and arrangements. I just wanted to put it in writing so that things weren't getting lost in translation through children, because this is not the appropriate way.
Banana phone.
That things should be happening. And believe me, I agree. Let me just be clear to listeners. I also agree. This is not the way this should be happening. I don't know what to do to stop it. Like, clearly my kids know there's a freaking family wedding. Clearly I need to make plans. I can't make someone check a message or respond to something. So when I sent this message, I got a slew of messages back from my ex-husband. And it says, it accuses me basically of lying, that there probably isn't even a wedding. I'm just lying and being manipulative, and I'm a piece of shit. And then he accused me of taking the kids someplace where they're not even going to be safe. That was the next message. So the first message is there even a wedding? ? I heard about going to Disney. You're very deceiving, to say the least. Why would you tell them I said they can't go? Please don't put the kids in the middle and pit them against me. This isn't the first time, ... Okay. So then the second message I got was, are the kids even going to be safe? ? You said Steve left because the situation he was in was out of control. He also had a very toxic divorce. That he had to leave is what you actually said. So, okay, that was number 1 years ago. And regardless of whatever Steve's situation is, he's not in this situation here is way worse for my kids than flying to a fucking wedding. Like, let me just be clear. My daughter's 5th grade graduation was a way more dangerous situation than any situation the kids have ever been in with Steve's kids or Steve's family. Ever.
And they're with you and they're with Steve at a wedding, which would be no different than taking them to a restaurant down the street.
Wait, and we can all, like it or not, and this is the other thing too, as parents, we all do have the ability to independently parent during our time. Whether you like the fact that your daughter was taking bra shopping or not, there's not much you can do about it.
Right.
But in this position, he can do something about it. He can say, no, they can't go because it is his weekend. Keep the kids. Once again, this is not a fight on my part. If you are saying that they can't go, keep the kids. Keep them.
And if you don't want messages going back and forth, don't send a message to the kids. And also
just respond to me.
Come to me and say yes or no.
This is funny too, because number one, I've never had like a family wedding where I've had to take the kids on his time. Number one. My mom has never turned 70. Number two, where she planned a big trip. And so this is, I do see from his point of view that this is kind of like back-to-back things that are outside of his plan. Let me just be clear. Still, to this date, he has not asked for a single day of makeup time for that time. He has not asked for a switched weekend, a switched day, an extra week. Nothing, zero, nada. So what's this about? Is this about your time with the kids? Or is this about me? Because what I've heard from my children's mouth is that he just thinks I'm bullying him. I don't know how to say there's a wedding and it's on your weekend. Are you okay with the kids going? How do I say that to where I'm not being a bully? Please. Well, that's probably what he wants. Please.
Please, I'm begging you, let the kids come with me.
So I booked the trip because I needed to book it because it's coming up. I don't want to pay an arm and a leg and I want to get into a nice Airbnb. And we did. We got a great Airbnb.
I love it.
Down in Southern California. So I'm happy to get into the sun again for another week.
I love it.
Stuff. Yeah. Whether we'll go to Disney or not is still,
up in the air.
Up in the air. But I'd like to because you're already
there.
Yeah, but I just also want to be clear. I was not like waving a Disney flag in front of my... It was not... I was shocked my son even said it. My mom and I had talked about it briefly because my parents are also going to this wedding.
Yeah.
That it would be fun, and we were already down there around Christmas. So that was 3 months ago.
Yeah.
To me, it's kind of sweet that my 15-year-old son was like, oh, I think that'd be fun. I was like, we'll see. Yeah. I don't know. We got to really like see what the wedding plans are and all the things.
That's what I'm accused of, waving extravagant vacations.
Right? Where the kids are at your sister sleeping on the floor.
Or at my friend's cabin, who she's kindly opened up to us, and we don't pay for anything, just drive there. Like, these are the extravagant vacations I'm going on. And also, to be very clear, that is very kind, and that is extravagant to me right now. It is not costly, though. It is.
Right?
No.
I know. Okay.
What are you talking about?
So what's this week in hell for you, Jen? Just the general overall status of...
This fucking sucks.
Yeah, this is going on.
I am having, and I worked really hard to be a person that doesn't overthink all of my interactions after the interaction. And so I think a lot of women will resonate with this.
How did you get there? Can you tell all of us?
I worked really hard to just decide that it didn't matter because I really love when people show up to me authentically, whether they're my favorite person or my cup of tea or not is one thing. I love seeing a woman show up wherever she belongs and being incredibly authentic. So I was like...
Yeah, me too. I don't even care if it's my kind of person.
Yeah.
The fact that you're just like showing up authentically is enough for me.
It makes me feel like I'm allowed to do that. So I started to really try to adopt that in my post-interaction rehash. We all do those. I think most people do those. And I stopped beating myself up over things I would say, or the tone of my voice, or the volume of my voice, or the pace in which I spoke, or maybe what I said. And for the last week, I am really not doing that. Every time I have an interaction, I'm like, "Whoa, that sucked. That was awful. Everyone hates me. Why was I talking like that? Or why did I do this? Or
even with me?
No, I don't think with you.
Okay, good. Because we've spent a lot of time together this last week.
I don't think I've had time to rehash.
Good, because I'm not leaving you alone.
Yeah, I have a babysitter, which is very helpful. But I don't like that I'm getting into because I don't want it to become a habit. It's okay for a little bit. But I'm finding myself like at the end of the night being like, do you send an apology? Do I look for reassurance that I actually am super fun and that my volume of voice and my pace of speaking and the things that I shared were not too much? And it is okay temporarily, but I do not want to fall back into that rhythm because it is all consuming.
Yeah.
You know this.
Oh, I do know this.
You do know this. I yell at Jenny Lynn sometimes if she feels like that about me and doesn't tell me before she already has spiraled on the thought. I'm like, no, just let me know. I'll tell you I hate you.
Right.
Just kidding.
And it's so weird to be a person who's so opinionated and who does like to talk and do all the things. And then also rehash and beat yourself up. And that's that. And I do think it's common. I think it's way more common than we'd all like to admit.
I think it's normal, not common.
Yeah,
I think it's that level
normal, all the
regularity.
Things. But at least if you're a quieter person, hopefully you exist in a little bit more peace than someone who is talkative and likes to socialize. And,
listen, I've tried to shut up.
We all know.
And people think that there's something wrong. And then you sit there and think about that.
That's happened to me too before.
Yeah, totally.
If I'm just a little bit more reserved, people automatically are like, "Oh, you're mad at me. What did I do?" And I'm like, "Oh,
Do
no,
you
I'm
feel
just
okay?
Yeah, I'm just taking a beat. That's it.
Yeah. No, I don't have the flu.
Right. Yeah.
No, I don't hate you.
Yeah.
I'm just trying not to create a situation where I go home 2 hours later and think about it nonstop until I actually decide that everyone hates me.
Yeah.
And that doesn't work either.
Right. I know.
That's a lot of our weeks in hell. It just turns out I feel like my situations are really extreme right now. So the reactions that I'm having to that kind of.
I don't know why you feel that way. That's weird. Okay. Bye.
Bye. See you over the fence.
Okay. See you over the fence. Bye.
Bye.